So Santosh, first thing first, why Zeer.ai? Hey, so here we are, someone that needs no introduction on LinkedIn, someone that I've taken a lot of inspiration from. I aspire to be 10% as good as him maybe over the next few decades.
Oh, you've been kind.
He means a lot to me, but I think he means a lot to a lot of us. He means a lot to the SaaS world. He's currently the co-founder and CEO of Zeer.ai, but then he's had his fair share of career moves, his contribution to the data-driven SaaS world. We'll get to that maybe later part of this podcast. But yeah, let's welcome Santosh Sharan, and we'll keep this conversation as casual as we can. The idea is, I had a few questions that I've always wanted to ask Santosh, and more so that, me trying to build a bootstrapped business and staying profitable and with aspirations to grow, which he's done multiple times in his career, and he's done it for himself, exited successfully, he's done massive level of scaling and growth for companies that he's been part of, and now on his latest venture, Zeer.ai. So I felt my questions and his answers could not just benefit me, but then a lot of you as well. So let's do it. So Santosh, first thing first, why Zeer.ai? And where do you think the buyer and buyer-led journey is headed in the buying cycle of the SaaS world? Or if you still believe SaaS will kind of evolve into something else, or if you think SaaS is dead and we're kind of moving into something else. So let's just set that stage first, and we'll probably go from there.
All right, I'll tell you why Zeer.ai. But before that, thank you for hosting me. I am at the headquarters of SaaSstories and Arun Pillai's office, and you got a beautiful house.
Thank you.
All right, so I have been working in SaaS for like 20 years, and during this time, I have seen automation and data really help sales and marketing and go-to-market, right? So we came to a point where in the last 12, 18 months, everybody's pipeline is down. What worked before no longer works. All the playbooks that we have been used to, those playbooks are not working. The sales math itself is not working, right? So I was scratching my head November, December of last year on why is it so and what can we do different. I came to a conclusion that we broke SaaS, or we broke go-to-market, and our greed broke it, right? All the automation and data was good as long as we used it in moderation, right? But a lot of sales rep, as we know, since they can send 1 million emails with one button, they'll just do it, and that broke SaaS. Buyers are not willing to show up on calls, right? They want to do their own research, and when they do show up on call, they want the call to be a fulfillment call, not a sales call. They already know what they want. Sometimes they know more than what the sales rep knows about the same product, right? So buyers are doing their own research. They don't want to talk to sellers. And yet buyers have no product or solution geared towards their automating their research or helping them with the tools. So why Zeer.ai? We want to make these buyer research easier and simpler. And we want to help the vendors collaborate with the buyers during the research process. Because right now the vendors are being shut out of the process, right? Now, we live in interesting times where if you think about where do our buyers traditionally doing research, it's either on vendor website or G2, or some that can afford, they go to Gartner. These are times with AI and Agentic, Gartner is suffering. It's too expensive, too slow, not personalized. G2 is suffering because it's pay for play. Everybody can get 5-star rating if you give away enough Amazon gift cards, right? So buyers literally have no other solutions.
Yeah.
And this is why we decided to build Zeer.ai to help the buyer and to help the sellers come to table back again.
So it's like putting the controls more towards the buyers, but yet enabling the vendors to be there when it matters the most and with the relevant buyers.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and if you think about it, traditional sales-led, there is a dark side to it. And there is a good side. Most sellers are good, but there is a dark side, right? So when sellers send out, say, 100,000 emails, only 10 buyers are in market to buy. But all other buyers, 900, whatever, a very large number, 99% of them, they consider the outreach as a spam.
Yeah.
And then they get so fatigued and tired, they don't want to hear again from the seller, right? Now, we are trying to flip the funnel a little bit. On Zeer.ai, we are offering AI research, agentic research. So buyers, and even if they're not buying, all B2B professionals are welcome to come to Zeer.ai and share with us what is top of mind, what problem they're facing, and we'll give them solution.
Right.
And after 10 days of giving solution, maybe one of them require an introduction to a product or a playbook, right? So that we want to slowly encourage them to evaluate products. And then when they're evaluating products, then we bring in sellers. So that's far more organic. And during this process, where buyers and sellers engage and we set up calls for them to talk, no email is sent, right? At least now, what we are doing is not going to replace sales-led, but we are hoping that we create a new category of go-to-market where even if it's 2% sellers or buyers decide to come to us, we would be very fortunate.
No, I would imagine the buyers would love it. I think, let's be honest, we all as executives are inundated with messages each day.
Right.
And I think you've lived through this and seen it in action much more than I do. There was a time access to information was key. And today we are inundated with information.
We live in no longer abundance of information, right? Yeah.
And today it's the intelligence that matters.
Right.
And buyers are looking for intelligence much before they end up talking to the sales guy. And
true.
Maybe, I'll just hypothetically use this number. 50% of the research is almost done much before they talk to the sales guy. Right?
Totally.
And you and I do that. We prefer to evaluate at our pace. We prefer to evaluate at the comfort of our time zones. We prefer to evaluate in a manner that we are not influenced by the sellers, so to say.
Yeah.
Before even we talk to the sellers. Right?
Totally.
I totally see myself as a buyer and even as a seller wanting to put the best out to my prospects, right?
Right.
So how do you see, yes, there is need for GTM to evolve. It worked well until it no longer works.
Right.
We overkilled it. So that means in the transition of information to intelligence enablers, do you see some sort of consumerization of B2B from both sellers' perspective as to how specific and hyper-personalized they'll have to be with their buyers, and to an extent letting their buyers control the journey?
Yes. I think you shared the answer in your question. So let me explain. The future of go-to-market passes through research. So you use the word insights, but that is really key, right? We do live in the world of abundance of information, and research, the way Gartner did or G2 did, no longer cuts it.
Correct.
So there's a new kind of research that needs to emerge, and we have been saying buyers and sellers, but really we should say B2B research. All, whether there are buyers or sellers, everybody needs research. Because sellers need better research on understanding buyers. Buyers need better research in evaluating vendors. And so research is important. Let's establish that. Now, we were doing research which was human curated. I think a lot of the research in future will be agentic research, where agents will go out on behalf of sellers, on behalf of buyers, and they'll come back with information. Sometimes the two agents will negotiate or talk to each other and say, we have a fit, let's schedule a call between two humans, right? But I think this research some new form of research has to emerge, and let's hope Zeer.ai does it. If not us, somebody has to do this. That is fundamentally AI native, and it reduces it makes the human far more effective when they do the conversation. So that's kind of I think where we're headed.
So am I right in framing this as, let's say, we know and it's established and accepted by most of us that there's noise in the market today, and we need to work towards relevancy. So being relevant and relevancy of both sides, right? Buyers and sellers, and you put it right. Let's not separate them as buyers and sellers. It's relevancy both sides. And you see agentic AI and, the AI layer kind of bridging the, gap between noise and to relevancy.
Yeah. So, today, when we think about relevance or personalization, maybe we work with a handful of variables. We work with maybe copy, data, a few of these variables. I feel like this space will get pretty complex and intense and far more sophisticated, where we'll end up working with hundreds, if not thousands of variables, right? Because eventually, think about the best sales rep. They're just working with thousands of variables, and they are hyper personalizing in a sales call, and they know exactly what to say to a potential buyer based on what they infer. So the first example of personalization was this traveling salesman and a phone directory, like 50 years ago or 70 years ago, right? So what they would do is, this was before the phone directory. So they'd knock at somebody's door and take a peek inside and see what kind of furniture they have, and then change the price of that Britannica encyclopedia in real time,
Right.
So, but that was, now agents have to do that.
Okay.
And this personalization, I think we reach a point where to do it at scale, humans won't be able to do, right? And we tried, don't get me wrong, we tried very hard. We wanted to do personalization. We said, look, sales reps can do this. So we use automation to flood the calendar of sales reps. And then eventually there was no more slots in sales rep. We said, no problem, let's hire SDRs. And then we flooded the calendars of SDRs, right? And then they ended up doing 50 calls with only 5 that wanted to ever even talk or buy, right? So we have gone through these different approaches and created more noise in the system. To cut noise, we created more noise, right? I think the right solution would be to use AI to personalize and hyper-personalize in all different ways, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, lower in the funnel. And then eventually, when the AI scores and thinks the time is just right, it connects to a human and it hands over or passes on. Now this is where we want to do this personalization, not just through, say, data. We recommend doing it through conversations as well, because that plays a big role. So every sales rep needs to have like an agent or a sidekick, and this agent talks to all other agents out there or all other buyers, or and eventually when there's a Fed, that's where humans come in. So I see a world where sales rep that were doing 40 calls a week do only 5 calls a week, but 5 best calls where all of them convert.
Do you feel a place from where the build really matters today?
Hell yeah, it matters. I'll tell you why.